Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's vlog post. Welcome to the 1st of June, what is traditionally the beginning of what people feel is the summer season. We've just got through Memorial Day weekend. We've survived last couple of weeks of extreme volatility in the rate environment, and most of it, if not all of it, not good. Rates have really taken a beating, with all the different economic data that's been coming out, the conversations, the challenges with the government itself, bank failures. Picture is, pretty rugged, and a lot of reaction to that in the marketplace as we get closer and closer to the debt limit explosion, and the struggle that people seem to have, the rhetoric of the politics of what's going on, and probably, uh, the overall distrust that people have in the agencies. Let's be honest; it's the same people that told us that things were under control when they weren't. The same people told us that there was not going to be an inflation problem; it was going to be transitory, and it wasn't. Uh, all these different things that the markets have seen uh, doesn't inspire confidence in trusting people with their words. And I think recently, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen coming out and saying, "Oh, I made a mistake. Where the drop dead date for the, reaching the debt limit is not going to, or running out of money is not, June 1st. It's now June 5th." Probably was, the straw that broke the camel's back for the markets, because clearly, you can't make a mistake like that. You can't not know. You can't say things definitely like that and then get right to the breach and then say, "Oh, by the way, I found, 4 more days worth of money." Uh, the markets, and quite frankly, people themselves start looking at these things and wondering if anybody has a clue. Now, I will tell you that, you know, we saw some movement on the debt ceiling. We saw people coming together to say that, they were going to get something done. I'd like to believe them, but until, we actually have a bill on the president's desk that he signs, uh, you have to excuse me until I'm, a little bit pessimistic on the fact that, you hear and see a lot of things that get said that don't exactly happen, right? And so those become, very important things to happen. And those are things we have to look to as paying attention to. It's not whether the House passes it, the Senate passes it. They both have to happen. The president has to sign it, and we have to move forward. That's not going to change the fact that this morning we're going to get more unemployment data. Tomorrow we're going to get the May jobs report, which, could share with us the fact that their job market is stronger than what people had thought, which is going to invoke, thoughts amongst the Fed that they still have to continue to raise rate. In fact, one of the Fed presidents came out and said she was convinced that, we had to keep raising rates until we got to, 6%. And it's the same person who, throughout the last few years, denied that inflation was going to be a problem. Inflation wasn't going to be an issue. Inflation wasn't going to happen. When inflation started to happen, it was transient. Her track record of having the slightest idea about what was going on, is one of these people that she would serve herself well to sit in the corner and shut up, because, she's proven herself, just like, Jerome Powell and, others. They make statements as if they have a clue or they know what's going on, and they're either looking at data that is, old and behind us, or they're spinning theories that do not apply, or what have you. And I think the markets are now to the point where they're looking at their own numbers, their own research, and really starting to figure out that the people in positions of power, for whatever reasons, personal, private, political, whatever, Um, I don't have the slightest idea why they could be so continuously wrong, but they have been. Now, all that said, from my own view, is inflation numbers are going to get a little better. Um, Inflation is going to continue to recede. Uh, all of the weight that have been put in the past rate hikes are starting to catch up with the numbers, and that's always been the thing. Is they put so much faith into year over year and month over month and whatever that in the long run, eventually you get to a spot where the numbers, high numbers are now being compared to even higher numbers, as opposed to you know insanely lower numbers. So I anticipate, and as I've said before, I expect interest rates to decline um, through the summer and into the fall. I still believe that we're going to see 5% interest rates. The reality of it is, despite all the stuff that's been going on, and despite that, the MBA numbers show that the number of transactions is reduced, I'm still seeing, again, from what my view, the people that I work with, pretty solid activity. We're dealing with, obviously different price points and different types of borrowers, whether it be the first timers, whether it be people trading up. But again, I'm seeing increasing numbers of people coming to the table looking to pre-approve, people looking at their calendars and realizing it's summertime. We got to sell our house. We got to move the family into the new house before school starts this year. That all these things are going to be the same as they always were. You can look back at past videos. We talk about summer strategies, but also what we're seeing is, again, just my sample size, which admittedly is very small. The sheer numbers of referrals from small banks and credit unions to the people that have been working them continues to rise, simply because more and more of the small banks and credit unions are leaving the market or being more picky about what they're doing as they look at the overall situation, saying that that's not where they want to be tied up for now. And there are more and more mortgage people getting laid off and companies merging or shutting down, which for people who have been active and people who have been out there and people who have built the relationships, that business still needs to be done. And that business is still available for people. People have not stopped buying houses, and whether it be 7% or 6% or even into 5%, it comes back to the same stuff. People got to have a place to live. Number one. Number two, it is about the payment. And you're seeing these things where people are looking and making choices, and maybe they don't have a $1,200 car payment, they have a $400 car payment, and they buy a nicer house, right? DTIs are always a thing that we deal with in our business. People say, well, I don't have enough money. Well, I got $300 a month in streaming services, $1,000 a month in Starbucks, and things like that start to really jump up and take hold. So my point to you is pay attention to what's going on in the market. Get out there and talk to your people. I've had some people really see the benefits of getting out there and getting in front of and having conversations with people, because loans are not going to fall from the sky, despite all the comments about social media only based strategies, despite the fact that everybody thinks that the way to success is endless numbers of coffees and lunch meetings with realtors. Well, all of those things unto themselves are not the answer. It's a combination of all of those things. It's developing a broad spectrum of opportunity, because in any particular market, all of those are in play, but you need to have yourself positioned so that you're taking advantage of where those opportunities come, because you're never sure which one is going to be the strongest push. And so making sure that you have your feet firmly planted in all of those areas. And again, it's 2 hours a day, 1 day a week for each area of your business. You can manage 5 streams of business quite comfortably, because you're supposed to be prospecting those 2 hours at least every day anyhow. So as always, if you're going into this summer, if you're confused about where to go, if you're not sure about what you're going to do, and for me, I'm a big proponent get that summer vacation scheduled, get it on your books, plan for it. Should have been done already, but if not, let's get it out there, because you do need the time with your family. You do need time to unplug and go. You do need to be prepared for that, working up to it and then working when you get back from it can also be a huge boom to your business, not only getting you into the habits of getting things done before a deadline, but also the energy you're going to feel when you come back is extremely important. And as always, if you need any help with that, if you'd like to talk about what your situation is, it's Mike at imtcoaching.com. We'll speak to you again next week. Take care.